Welcome back to the dopest show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer and this is Sasha. Spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. Got a lot of stories about the dumb stuff I did to get put in prison. I also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that happened when I was in prison. And God forbid you end up in prison, you won't make some of the same mistakes I made. So, 60 days in, I've been talking about this show for a few weeks now. Some wild stuff that's happening on there with this whole quarantine season. They done lost half the people, and it's not like the other seasons because you can't just throw people into this season because they got to go through the quarantine. So that's a unique difference that this season has. Like, if everybody had dropped off, I don't really know how they would have done it. I mean, it would have just had to continue or maybe be redone. I don't know. So anyway, there's a number of people. There's a woman, Rose, who's in the who at the start of it, she's having problems with this little loudmouth white girl. It's just a little skinny white girl, just is blah 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 blah, and she's going off like telling her she'll smash her, this and that, and the white girl's saying little stuff back. It's just annoying. It could be like, don't talk about it, be about it, and stuff like that, egging it on and everything else. Yeah, but then Rose, the same girl, she starts having issues like kidney issues and stuff like that. And she goes and she talks to the warden, or whoever, the head guy, I guess it's a warden, the guy who talks in metaphors and everything. And she tells him that she's had the same jumpsuit for a month. They ain't changed him out. He's like, you mean to tell me you've had the same jumpsuit for a month? And she's like, yeah, and blah, 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 this and that. And, normal people be like, I'm sorry to hear that, that's terrible. He, just without even batting an eye, he says, looks at the other guy and he says, concerning. I mean, like he's some type of a robot or something. I mean, he looks like somebody that would have been part of Malcolm X's crew. You know what I mean? With his little bow tie and his stern look, and everything else, with his glasses. But anyway, they end up doing, they're not like giving the women all the stuff that they need, like hygiene stuff for certain things and all that, and it causes them to start doing that. Now the other girl, Trinity, what her name is, she's got all the girls hitting on her, all of them hitting on her. Now as opposed to the other season where you had that one woman that was actually messing around with the inmates and stuff, Trinity straight up tells the girl, I got a girlfriend. She has a girlfriend outside of there, and she lets him know. And the girl's like, says something, and she's like, she basically shoots him down and calls him out for it. Well, maybe because of that, some of them girls started saying something about asking if she's 60 days in, and she's like, 60 days in, what is that? She plays it pretty good, and when they do that interview, she says, well, all them back here been doing interviews in, so I guess we all 60 days in, huh? She ain't shook her but nothing by it. But something funny she said, Trinity said, she is a little bit better spoken, but she seemed just like she's chilling. She said that the girls basically told her, you look more put together, you speak more articulate, basically you're not stupid enough to be an inmate. And Trinity's like, that's sad stereotype if they're telling me that, I'm not dumb enough to be an inmate, but that's basically what they told her. And anyway, that's kind of, wild thing. That Mekhi Phifer looking dude always got the one dread right down the middle of the face, like Mekhi Phifer in 8 Mile. Always got that one dread right down the middle of his face. That seems like it get annoying, having something dangling right in the middle of your face. Push that thing off to the side. He's a cool dude though. They end up moving him to the same pod that the ex-Latin King dude's in, because they had like explosion, like a poop explosion. I think it was somebody that was locked down flooded their cell, and that'll happen. People flooding their cells. Oh yeah, they'll there's about this much under the door. They'll shove towels under it, and they'll keep hitting the toilet. Stop the toilet up, hit it, or hit the sprinkler. If you got a sprinkler in the cell, that's more common than what I saw in prison. But they'll keep on hitting that. They'll wait till the water gets 2-3 foot up in their cell, then they'll pull that towel out, whoop, flood the whole thing. And it was coming from the upper floor to the lower floor, and it was a poop water explosion. Yeah, had to deal with that. Had a story way back. There was a terrible It turned out somebody flushed a shoe down the toilet at Petersburg Low. Yeah, those toilets are like, sound like an airplane taking off. If you ever been on an airplane and you flush the toilet in it, it goes. I mean, you gotta be careful. It'll suck your bits down the toilet. You know what I mean? If you ain't careful, you gotta be careful about how you approach that using one of them airplane toilets. But it's the same thing in prison and jail. Those toilets are like, woof, and somebody had managed to get a whole shoe down it. They snaked it, everything else. They end up having to go through like 70, 80 foot of pipe before they got that shoe out. But it caused a poop water explosion. And where it was a dormitory set, and we had those cubicle dividers. The cubicle dividers started about this high off the ground and then went up. So the water just went under. You had anything you had on the floor was ruined. And you had a bottom floor locker. I mean, oh man. Yeah, that was rough. But anyway, yes, they moved him in the same cell as the other dude. So in the last episode, the little white guy got that guy who had that shank man out of a broomstick in a chokehold. He got him in a chokehold. He was tying him up and everything else. Well, they come in there and they took the little white guy out, and they also took the dude with the broom handle thing out. And all, the ex-Latin King dude was like, he didn't do nothing wrong for real. He probably prevented a stabbing, and for real, he probably did. That little fella with that broomstick shank looked like he was about ready to use that sucker. But when the cops came in and they saw them scuffling, people started saying, dude's got a knife, dude's got a knife. Of course, something bad could have happened if they hadn't snatched him up, if they hadn't known that, but the fact that you said, dude's got a knife, that's something that you don't do, and there are going to be people that say something about that. Now, they took the little white guy out, and the ex-Latin King dude felt some kind of way about it because he sent the little white guy with the face tattoos. It didn't look like he was about nothing, but apparently he was. He jumped whenever it was time to act. I respect him for that. Started telling them straight up, hey, he didn't do nothing wrong, blah, 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 this and that. So he was letting them know, y'all need to let him out. He didn't do nothing wrong. So what happened was they had the police come in, and they asked, does anybody want to write a statement? The ex-Latin King dude sat down and wrote a statement to help the little white guy out. But you just wrote on paper and told on somebody. I mean, you better expect repercussions for something like that. It's something, and I knew it was going to happen too. I said it last week. I said something's going to happen because of that. I said something's going to happen because of that. I mean, he had to have known that. But anyway, it ends up working. They let the little white guy back out. And he's sitting down playing poker with this bunch of people, this handful of people. And there are people who had said, in their little interviews, you don't write statements and blah, blah, blah. The guy that he punked down earlier, the guy he was in the cell with that was going to give somebody a soup, and he told the guy not to do it, telling the guy his business. And then he acted like he wanted to fight the guy, punked the guy down. He got on camera, said something about it. There was another guy, white guy, looked like something you crawl out from under a bridge, just hairy, like a lumber, like this. He said something about it. And at that poker table, they was basically saying, something about he was the police, he was a snitch. Well, the little white guy who got out because he actually made that statement quit playing poker, went right up to him and told him, listen, don't you do business with a single one of them at that poker table. They're all saying you're the police, this, and that. And he's like, what? And he tells him, yeah, that's what happened. Well, he goes downstairs and he goes to that table and he says something, and one guy says something about, well, I'm a convict, or I'm a criminal. And he says, I'm a criminal too. And he says, anybody that's got a problem, we write a statement to get the whatever little white guy's name is out. Do something right now. He's flexing, puffing his chest out, everything else. This is a perfect example of people doing that type of thing that don't have any intention whatsoever of fighting. He's a 60 days in participant. They let them know at the start, if you get in a fight, you're going to get real time. You're going to get a real charge unless you're defending yourself. He's acting like, I'm calling anybody out, come in the cell, I'll fight you. Okay, that's going to get him a new charge, right? He wasn't going to fight. He didn't have any intention of fighting. He's trying to punk people down, trying to pull their card. He had no intention of fighting whatsoever. But guess what? It worked. All of them shut up. All of them didn't do a thing about it. He pulled the card, and you will see people in there do that all the time. People constantly doing that who have no intention whatsoever of fighting. They'll do that, all that rah-rah stuff. Usually people that do that make an announcement, everybody this, and that. Sometimes announcements need to be made. Sometimes, like if something's like going in some sort of a direction where you have to speak up for yourself and let everybody know, I'm not some punk. Nah, screw that. And this, and that, but saying, he was gonna fight this, and that. It was a little too much on him, and he had no intention of doing it. Like if you have an intention of doing it, if like you're in that type of situation and you gotta make that announcement and you're ready for whatever comes your way, that's one thing. He had no intention. He's not gonna get himself real jail time for this TV show, look cool and everything else. But anyway, that more or less was it. That was the majority of it. The end of the TV show, that woman Rose, there's a girl doing something. See, they don't have doors to their cells, right? They don't have doors to their cells. Well, for dudes they call it gunning. Well, like the same thing, but a girl, she's up and she's making a whole lot of racket while she's doing it. Or Rose, oh no, you are not. It's chubby blonde-haired girl that's making all kinds of racket doing that. Rose storms down the steps, and that's how that one ended. But I mean, if you are in an open area and somebody doing all that, that pissed me off too. Rose kind of just like, you can tell she did time, that she's snapping back into it. She's saying, no, we ain't gonna be doing that. Keep me up at night, because everybody's trying to sleep. This girl's doing that just for attention and everything else. So yeah, quite an interesting episode. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the next season. This one's been a weird season. Weird. All because of quarantine. The quarantine, the way they had it with the women's pod, with that like chain, like people, when they let people out for the hour a day, end up being 3 hours a day, they go right up to the it's like a fence for the front of a cell. They're talking face to face, right up in each other's face. They're not really quarantined. I don't know what the purpose of that was. I mean, that just seems stupid to me, and everything else with it. I mean, that's what it is, though. But it's 4 of them left. Oh, and by the way, the Trinity girl, like and I think it was the last episode. She had like she had a relative die. She didn't quit the program. The Rose girl, she had serious issues, like kidney issues. That she didn't quit. They did not do all that rah, I'm tough, I'll give you old school whooping, like the one white woman said, or, like those people came in tough. They came in just chilling. When it's come time to say something, if need to be said, they say something. But they didn't do all that too hard, too tough stuff, I mean, it's often how it is. The ones that come in chilling end up standing up when they need to stand up, and the ones that do all that rah stuff don't. I mean, that's about what you see typically. And I mean, you knew what you was coming into. You know what solitary's like. I mean, that ain't even solitary, but I mean, you knew people gonna be loud, crazy, you won't gonna get any sleep. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is, especially jail. Prison's a little bit different, because people live in prison for long periods of time, and people are like, well, if I'm living in here, I'm not going to be kept up all night by some idiot. But in jail, where it's people are in and out, making bail, getting sent off, everything else, it's the lowest level of respect possible. The most ignorant, most stupid stuff ever happens in jail. Prison is less bad than jail in so many ways. First off, you get out, there's so many more privileges and stuff, but the level of just ignorant, dumb, stupid stuff that people do, you see in jail. But anyway, if you like the video, press the like button. If not, it's 14 minutes and 40 seconds of your life, which you'll never get back. Anthony Kelly, that's my buddy, man. He's been on here commenting for a good long minute, man. He's been part of this bunch. He donated $10, Call that the junkie with a monkey fund. Ultimately, that's going to go to, giving a few bucks to Pinto or, whatever I do to go get people on here. But Anthony Vera Kelly, thank you, buddy. I don't ever ask anybody to donate. If you do, I will mention you, though. There was another donation, too, that I need to mention. Jesus, it's slipping my mind right now. I'll mention it tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'm getting sleep, but I'm still tired on top of it. I forgot to mention the other one. I'll mention the other one next time. I promise I will. I'm sorry, it's slipping the top of my head. I forgot to mention Anthony earlier today. Behind on sleep. Driving me crazy. And it's like I'm getting to sleep now, but I'm more tired than when I wasn't getting sleep. So anyway, if you liked the video, press the like button. If not, I'm sorry.